My intention with this video is that you get a little bit of relief, especially if you are experiencing a lot of pain or discomfort. The same way I received it last week when I was able to finally see my experience with pain from a different perspective. A few disclaimers before we dive deep into this subject. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor. I grew up with a dad that is a doctor and a Zen monk at the same time, and a mom that is a nutritionist. So health has been very important since I was born. It's been part of my life. And I learned, especially from the combination of me having a very scientific, mind-oriented dad that is at the same time as Zen monk. I learned that health, pain, life, it is a mix of, yes, the physical symptoms we might experience, disease that we might experience, but also what we are experiencing emotionally, spiritually. We can say that the way I see life is that anything that presents in our bodies is a response of what we are experiencing in life. With that being said, I have to say that I'm not gonna be able to give you any scientific description of anything. I'm sure you will find more of those answers in YouTube, in ChatGPT, in books, somewhere else. You're still welcome to stay at this video. Maybe you have a friend, someone that might benefit from my perspective to health and to pain. And the other disclaimer that I wanted to share is that the type of pain that I'm experiencing, because it's always very specific. I think having an accident is not related to my bones. It is related to muscle and nerve. It's muscle nerve related. It's not, crazy. I've been taking care, I've been doing all the medical steps also at the same time that I've been exploring into the emotional side and spiritual side of things. Just to give you a little bit of context, because if you had an accident, if you broke a bone and all these things, I feel like you might need other type of information. Right here, I think we are going to be exploring the emotional side of things, the spiritual side of things, especially for people that you have that awareness, or you are getting to that awareness of, okay, the doctor is telling me that I have these things in my body. There are, facts that are showing that there are things in my body, but in my heart, maybe you talk about souls. My soul is telling me that maybe there's a message. Maybe there's something here for me to explore, to learn. Maybe there's this deeper layer that I can explore with this experience of pain. So welcome to this video. I really hope you get some good insight, and hopefully you can start experiencing a little bit of relief, and you can start relating to what you're experiencing in a different, better way. So if you haven't seen me before, if this is the first time that you see me, my name is Melisa, and if you have been following my channel, you have been watching my videos, it's so good to have you here. So I want in this video, share a little bit of my personal experience, but I want to focus in giving you a little bit of the perspective I have today and the tools that I use to build, to create this perspective. And the perspective that I have today, and I have to say, is pretty fresh. I just got to this place of remembering. Oh God, yes. Because a lot of what I'm gonna say is just gonna be a reminder for you. Your soul, your heart probably already knows it. So you're gonna be just, remembering in this video. And the thing is that when we are maybe overwhelmed, when we are kind of in in a phase in the process of exploring what the pain is and what the situation might be for us, we start creating a lot of us, not everyone, we start creating a lot of resistance and rejection, and we hate it. I saw myself at this appointment last week with a chiropractor, in the way that I was describing the symptoms. I was like, I'm just like desperate. I want to get rid of it. And it was just after a couple of days after I was reflecting about the appointment, and I was like, you are in fear, in rejection, and that's only going to get so what creates being in that space, it's we kind of get into a loop, you know, like it's very hard to get a different perspective when we are stuck in just I hate it, and we are just like thinking about it all the time, and whenever we move our bodies we're just you're there, you're still there, you know, even we start increasing the pain just by thinking about it. So the first thing that I would like to share from the bottom of my heart is how we can start relating with what we are experiencing from a better place. And this doesn't only apply to pain, it can apply to everything. Relationship, losing a job, breaking up, anything challenging, anything difficult in our lives. Can we relate from a place of acceptance? Things start softening up a little bit, loosening up a little bit. Can we get to a place of acceptance? Can we get to a place of compassion? I think a lot of people talk about pain being a visitor, you know, how we can welcome pain in our lives, you know, like we don't have to be there. It's funny because when I heard this, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have chronic pain for the rest of my life. No, that might not be the case for us, but we know also that some people live with chronic pain for years, or you know, for the rest of their lives, and they get to experience life at wonderful levels. So we can do that too. A lot of the things that they do is to reframe it, you know, to reframe that, to tell all their stories. What is your story? So by getting curious, you know, how am I relating with this today? First step, as I said, like the more we focus in the negative, in how bad it is, in creating that pattern, that's just gonna increase the pain. Can increase the pain definitely, because we focus more and we start, you know, thinking that it's getting bigger. Maybe, yeah, it's just, our minds can do very interesting things, crazy things. So the opposite, if we start focusing our attention in accepting, you know, it's just like just a totally different energy. You know, when we accept something, we kind of like just let it be, you know, we accept, oh, okay, we start focusing on other things. So one part of this first thing that I wanted to share with you guys is emotionally how we can relate to it, and physically how we can start shifting depending on that first exploration that you did. Physically, how we can start relating to it. Is there any activity? So now that I want to be compassionate and accepting with this sensation, how am I walking? How am I sitting? Like I'm saying this to you, and I'm also like, you know, scanning a little bit what I'm doing. Can I be more inviting? Because a lot of the things, maybe you're feeling the same right now. Energetically in our bodies, when we have the tension of the pain, kind of like, you know, we tense up and we reject it. Can I loosen up a little bit, right? Because acceptance is that. It's just like, can I relax in it a little bit? What happens if I do that? I know we all are different levels of the process of pain, so you do your own version of this. You can, just find variations. So getting to a place of love, that's where we want to get with the first thing that I am sharing. About the tools, the things that I did, two main ones that I want to mention in this video. You know, when we talk about spirituality, it's also very personal, very specific for each of us. I'm very big in astrology. I love astrology. Astrology has given me, it's just magic land for me. I have so much fun with astrology, and yeah, it worked for me. I learned how to make it work. I learned how to flow with astrology. I had a time where I was obsessed and it didn't work. It took me in very, you know, funky places, and now I'm at a place where I just, you know, I feel like it's very feminine in a way, even though it's very intellectual. But astrology is just like, it comes to your life. And there are moments where it's just like almost like a messenger, you know. And if you get to connect with astrology that way, you know, and there are moments where that's exactly what I needed to hear. That's exactly how I'm feeling. That's exactly how I can approach to it. It can be that, right? If you are feeling inspired by what I'm saying, if you feel like astrology is the way you would like to start getting a little sense of how you can work, how you can invite, how you can integrate this experience in your life, a few placements that I recommend you to check is your Chiron and your Lilith. These two placements are like, Chiron is the wounded healer, right? So it tells us a lot of emotionally where this pain might come from. And Lilith is I'm not going to be able to give you a very specific description of Lilith because it's almost like kind of new for me, and I'm still kind of, you know, learning. But how I experience Lilith is kind of like the areas in our lives we have challenged the most, you know, like the things that trigger us the most, the things that we feel like we have to fight about it, the things that we are just like, no, I'm not gonna let this pass again, you know. It's a very rebellious energy. We all have that little portion of our personalities, and you don't have to be into astrology. I'm sorry, we're just taking this portion of the video to talk about astrology. I'm gonna share other things, other tools that I used, but just to share a little bit, my placement for Lilith is a Libra in the house of Virgo. And very specific, it says that when things are not balanced in my life, Libra, I experience physical health issues, if we can say, things with my health, Virgo, right? So those, and also, you know, the Chiron, I got a lot of information where the Chiron is like, the wounds or core wounds, where we all have different ones in different areas in our lives. So that gave me a lot of information right away. I was like, okay, I know where this comes from. But you can check also your moon. The moon is our emotional self. I want to say that Mars, when we're talking about pain, I feel like you might relate with this. Pain, it feels like it's something that is wanting to leave our bodies. You know, it's something that it's not flowing. It's stagnant. And it's care and it's attention. And I want to say that anger is one thing very common in our society. A lot of us learn that we cannot express our anger. And Mars is the placement, the planet of action, is the warrior. Obviously, it's a beautiful energy that we can learn how to work with it. But talking about pain, I do believe that a lot of us haven't been able to express that energy, so it might be in our bodies trying to say something. Anyways, so Venus also is the placement of how we express and receive love, so I would get curious about that. Now that I think about it, it's like I would check your whole your whole chart. I would give it to ChatGPT. I will screenshot all your chart and I'll give it to ChatGPT, and I'll say like, hey, I am experiencing these health issues. Is there anything in my chart that talks about this? Now with the GPT-5, make it work for you. Okay, so the second tool, it was my first time working with a chiropractor. I was always very curious, especially because I'm a big fan of Joe Dispenza, and I know Joe Dispenza, his career, he started as a chiropractor. So I was always fascinated to, the way they work and their work, what they do. And I have to say, as I said earlier, spirituality is huge. You know, it's just what I experienced, what I connected with. I am very connected with my body, with the sensations in my body. I have a monitor, as if that gives you some information, and a lot of Pisces. So yeah, working with my body feels like, I was like, sure, you know, like Reiki is beautiful, and working with the intuitive people that can just read by seeing you what's happening in your body, that's beautiful. It's not exactly my style. I think moving my body, twisting, cracking, or I don't remember the word for it, what the chiropractor do, cracking, yeah. It felt like the right thing for me. Definitely, I was like, yes, I want to feel what happens in my body. It is beautiful. It is definitely amazing. Something that I would recommend for anyone that, you know, if you maybe relate with what I'm describing, the way I experience life, 100%. I want to say that it's two parts, one from my experience, you know. Definitely you feel all these beautiful sensations, the release, because it's working with your nervous system, resets your nervous system, so you have this wonderful, beautiful release. A huge part, and I think the most important, the one that I receive benefit the most, was working on the emotional side of things. So I was introduced to this human, wonderful human here in San Francisco that I think also, what do you want to say about this? Ask if you're, you know, in the curious about spirituality, ask for that person, for the type of guidance that you would like to receive, the one that feels good for your soul, for your heart, for. So meeting this person, it was just like super aligned. I was like, I wouldn't, you know, it's exactly the person I want to learn from about what's happening with my body. That's how I felt. So yeah, I felt everything very accurate. The work with, you know, what's going on in my lifestyle and all these things. That's one portion, the appointment. Working with the chiropractor in the lifestyle, emotional side of things, and the alignment, the adjustments that they do in your body. One big portion also is what happens after the appointment. It's a very beautiful experience. I want to say, if you follow my channel, if you have been watching my videos, you know that I talk a lot to highly sensitive people. I'm someone that don't like those kind of terms, you know, but I do identify myself as someone that is super sensitive to many things. So if you identify yourself as someone like that too, I want to say I'm still exploring, since it was my first appointment. I went during my luteal phase. It was very intense what I experienced after the appointment. I want to go one more time when I'm not in my luteal phase, just to see how I respond. I had a lot of breakthroughs and insights after the appointment, like a massive release, emotional release, that I was like, wow, wonderful. But usually in my luteal phase, I'm already on a low vibration. I don't know if low vibration, but hibernation, if we can say, you know. So I didn't think about it. It's something that I would I would think for the next appointment to maybe doing during days that my body and my emotional self, it's a little bit more grounded. And yeah, I know you know what I mean. Anyways, those have been my major tools in this process. To be honest, as I said, it's so specific, so unique for each of us, and just getting curious, being as gentle as you can with your body, taking notes. I hope this is, as I said at the beginning of the video, is giving you some light, some inspirations, some ideas, some guidance in how you can treat your body, your pain, what you're experiencing, in a better way. Get some good information. So I would love to hear if you feel like sharing your experience, if you apply anything that I share here, and if if it went well. I would love to hear from you. For now, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here. Until my next video, so much peace and love for you.